What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married to Medicine Season 9, Episode 11. So we are still at Quad's housewarming party, right? Now, I just want to make a little side note. In the last episode, we saw Carmitha, which is Toya's friend, get up and approach Anila and Zaina because there was this confusion about whatever was going on. And so Carmitha got up and she wanted to throw her weight around and she was standing up over Zaina and Anila. And then it just looked like to us that she got up, like she was kind of like threatening them or approaching them as if she wanted to start something with them, but then Toya was able to get her to sit down, or somebody got her to sit down. Well, on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, she talks about how Carmitha actually did put hands on Anila. There was an actual scuffle between Carmitha and Anila, but they edited that out. Okay, so moving on. So we're at the part now where Dr. Heavenly had whispered to Toya that there's going to be this rumor coming out that you slept with somebody in your neighborhood. And then Toya asked Heavenly who said it. Heavenly alluded to, she kind of pointed out or kind of alluded to that it was either Anila or Zaina. So Toya asked them, which one of you said that I slept with somebody in my neighborhood? They all denied it. Not I, said the cat. They're all like, not me, not me, not me. So then Contessa. Oh, one thing that I also wanted to add in here was that Dr. Heavenly, this was discussed, I'm assuming, between Anila and Dr. Heavenly, but neither one of them exactly wants to say where they heard the rumor from, like who actually said it. And when Dr. Heavenly whispered that to Toya's ear, like, there's this rumor that's going to be coming out saying blah, blah, blah about you, I was thinking to myself, why is Dr. Heavenly all of a sudden acting like an ally of Toya when everybody knows that Dr. Heavenly cannot stand Toya? Because on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, Toya is a constant topic of conversation. If she's not talking about Contessa, she's talking about Toya. And she cannot stand Toya because Dr. Heavenly does not have respect for women who don't work, who don't have careers, who are not educated, who really are not go-getters out there doing something. To her, she sees Toya as a lazy housewife. So it just kind of boggled my mind that all of a sudden Dr. Heavenly wants to be protective over Toya and warn her about this rumor. And it makes me think that, she's probably just wanted to put that batter because obviously I'm assuming people have been drinking. Toya is already riled up about whatever was going on with her and Audra. Now, Dr. Heavenly is throwing more fuel to the fire by bringing up this rumor about her having an affair on Eugene with some Joe Blow in the neighborhood. So Toya gets upset and Contessa tells Toya, go tell your husband what they're saying. So Toya goes to Eugene, tells Eugene, and then also tells Eugene, yeah, and this one over here, referring to Audra, she's also talking about our finances, talking about how we lost money on the house that we sold. And I think Dr. Eugene was kind of like, that don't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then Toya and Audra confront each other yet again, and they're screaming in each other's faces. And Audra like chest bumped Toya, which then made Toya react and smush Audra's face. And then Audra literally tried to throw a punch. I mean, you saw that fist coming and going, but I don't think it landed on Toya at all. But Audra, pulled her hand back, pulled her fist back, and she was serious. Audra wanted, it was serious. So they're going at it. People are trying to separate them. Next thing you know, people are dispersing, people are leaving. And as Dr. Heavenly is walking out with her husband, she says something like, oh, I'm glad that I don't got nothing to do with that. And I'm like, Heavenly, you've got everything to do with that. You've got everything to do with that. Yes, Audra did her little presentation to embarrass Toya, but she sat back down. And it was kind of like they possibly could have gone on with their evening. Obviously, Toya and Audra would have been they would have been in their separate corners. But then when Dr. Heavenly brought up that rumor about the affair and set Toya going like that, I was like, Dr. Heavenly knew exactly what she was doing. Dr. Heavenly was talking about how, Anila brought Zaina there for trouble. But then all the trouble was caused by Toya. By Dr. Heavenly. All the trouble was caused by Heavenly. Zaina and Anila practically did nothing at all. It was all Audra, it was all Toya, and then Dr. Heavenly lit the match. When I look at situations like this, I always try to figure out where do we go wrong? How could this have been avoided? Number one, I don't think Audra should have done her presentation at that party. I understand that Audra has a grievance against Toya and she's got some things to address with Toya. This party at this time with the liquor flowing, but liquor's always flowing with these shows. But with, at this particular time and place, it just wasn't the time. It was not the time because number one, Audra looked kind of silly. She probably was speaking facts and she probably was making a whole bunch of good points, but she just looked kind of silly being so hyped up about talking about Toya's finances because nobody really reacted. People were just kind of like, okay, like I don't know if the night was long and people were ready to go home, but it did. I don't think Audra got the response that she expected. If this was done like at a dinner or at a lunch, where all the women are together, where you really you really can't just pop off because you're in a restaurant, in a public place, even though they did that in Vegas, maybe then it would have more of an effect. Maybe she would have gotten more of a response of some type. But at this party, people seemed like they were tired. I don't know. I think that Audra really should have kept that for another place at another time. I don't think that was the place for her little real estate presentation. Contessa egging on Toya to go tell her husband. Eugene didn't react, so that really didn't make any difference. But Heavenly whispering in Toya's ear, this is a rumor that's going to be coming out. That was just blatantly wrong. But the fight wasn't because of this rumor. The fight was because of the real estate issue. That was really the fight that happened between Audra and Toya. It wasn't about the rumor. It was about the real estate issue. I don't know. I mean, obviously, these two women should not have been arguing about that. Audra shouldn't have brought it up at all, period. When they got into each other's faces, Audra chest bumping Toya, I think is what set it off, obviously. And I think that Audra started the fight. Audra started the fight because she is the one that made the first physical contact. And even though Toya smushing her face looked more aggressive, I think really it was Audra that started the fight. And I'm not a big Toya fan, but I think Audra was the one that started this fight when she chest pumped her because she made physical contact with Toya first. And Toya was just responding to that physical contact. And I think it's really sad that these two women, one of them, with a respectable profession, a career, with a license, it's just, Toya, it don't matter. She ain't got nothing to lose. She can get into a whole bunch of fights. She can get into 100 fights. She doesn't have anything to lose. But Audra, with her being a professional woman, it just looked like, Audra, why do you care so much? Yes, Toya talked about your clothes. But people talk about Toya's clothes all the time. That's why they call her Tacky Toya. Yes, she said that you were not really good. You were a bad attorney or something like that. But when she said that in Las Vegas, I think Toya she was just joking. I don't think she meant that literally, like, I looked up your record and how many cases you've lost and won, and I think you're a really bad attorney. She was just joking. And her talking about your fashion girl, who cares? Who cares what Toya thinks? Who cares what Toya thinks? Toya is not no fashionista herself. Like, who cares what Toya thinks? The fact that Audra got rubbed the wrong way by these dumb things that Toya has said, it just makes Audra look so fragile and insecure. Moving on. Anila. Oh, another thing that I want to say about Dr. Heavenly. In her confessional, all the time, in her confessionals, on the show, on her YouTube channel, any chance she gets, on her Twitter, everywhere, Heavenly is constantly bragging about her marriage, constantly bragging about, her husband. And for someone who's supposed to be so happy and so secure in her marriage, why is she constantly attacking other people's marriages? Why would she even bother to tell Toya about that damn rumor? That was stupid. Why, like the way she talks about Contessa, the way she's talked about Curtis, the way she's talked about Cecil. If you've got it going on like that, Heavenly, if your husband is the best husband that has ever walked the planet, why do you care about other people's marriages so much to point out the faults in other people's marriages? To me, that shows some type of insecurity. Maybe Dr. Damon is a great husband for her, but maybe she's insecure about whether or not she's a good enough wife for him. Moving on. Anila. Anila has Audra and Heavenly come over. They talk about the damn fight. Anila says, Heavenly, you started it. You basically started it by bringing up that whole rumor situation. Heavenly tries to put it all on Anila and Zainab, because it wasn't even the fact. No one was even saying that Anila brought up this rumor. Heavenly and Anila both said, we heard, someone told us, or we heard that this is what Toya was doing. And somehow or another, Zaina's name came up, like as if Zaina was the one that started this rumor. Who knows? Who knows? And okay, who knows? Toya, Contessa, and Simone, they're out to eat. They talk about the fight as well. Simone and Contessa, they also blame Heavenly. Contessa said that if you're going to tell someone, I heard a rumor about you, you're perpetuating that rumor. You're the one that's saying the rumor. You are gossiping. You're the one that's putting that rumor out there, which is true. And then Dr. Heavenly had the nerve to say that the person who told me this should have done their research. What? Dr. Heavenly, you should have done your research as well then before you perpetrated that rumor. I mean, Dr. Heavenly, to me, I feel like Dr. Heavenly, Anila and Zaina were collateral damage to Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly just wanted to do something to either embarrass Toya and Eugene or to make Toya look bad. That's the only reason. When she got that information, when she got wind of that information, whether she actually heard it or whether she's making it up herself, when Dr. Heavenly got wind of that information, or that information popped up in her head, or however she got this information, she could not wait to put it out there because she cannot stand Toya. Is her name Latoya? She cannot stand Toya. That's why she brought it up the way she did. It wasn't to forewarn Toya. It wasn't to protect Toya. It wasn't like, girl, I got something to tell you, woman to woman, this is what I've been hearing. It was just to embarrass Toya. And because the so-called culprits were right there, what better time than now? Toya doesn't think that putting her hand on Audra was starting the fight. I guess because, Audra chest bumped her. Simone asked Toya, how is Eugene taking it? And Toya's like, we're good, we're fine. She says, we and him have always talked about that. If you ever lose interest in your partner or whatever, there's no need to cheat. We'll just file for divorce and go our separate ways. There's no need to cheat. Toya thought that the rumor was about Quad initially, and Simone knew that there was this rumor out there about Quad, and Contessa didn't know, so Contessa was shocked. And this rumor about Quad, as far as I'm concerned, I think it got started also by Dr. Heavenly, because on her YouTube channel, she talked about that with Anila. She brought it up too. There was this rumor that Quad was sleeping with married men, and Anila was like, oh my God. And Quad said, I don't know. She said something like, well, this is the reason why she's going through what she's going through is because she sleeps with, I don't know what she said, but she did say that Quad sleeps with married men. And then when Quad got mad and clapped back, Heavenly was like, I was just joking. But when she said it, it didn't seem like she was joking. And plus she talked about it again on the show when she told Anila about Quad sleeping with married men. So these two rumors about these two women sleeping around with married men and one of them being a married woman, I feel like they're all perpetuated by Dr. Heavenly. Anila, she's upset with her mom. She wants her mom out of there. And her mom is like, you know what? I didn't want to be here to begin with. You asked me to come here, and I cannot wait to go back home to Savannah. So they're over it. Contessa, she meets up with her trainer. Her trainer tells her, you got a lot of work to do. You still got to tone up a little bit. And the competition is only a few weeks away. The trainer introduces her to Baki, who is someone that's going to help Contessa with her posing. This is very reminiscent of New Jersey Housewives when Teresa Giudice was in her bikini competition, or bikini fitness competition. It's funny how the themes for these shows carry throughout the franchises, because the other theme is going to be these houses being broken into. But we'll get to there. We'll get there when we get there. Quad celebrates her brother's birthday, her brother who is deceased. Her mother is there, Mason is there at her house, and then Mason's mother comes over. Quad cooks a special dinner for them, and then, they go outside and they launch, what are they called? Are they called Japanese lanterns? And my question is, if Mason's mother is around, why doesn't she have her own son? Why is the child living with Quad? I didn't understand that because I thought, I forgot. I don't remember the mother. I mean, I remember seeing her however many years ago that was when they were living with Quad. Um, but I couldn't remember her story. And as far as why she doesn't have her own child living with her. Dr. Jackie's interviewing for a new doctor because she wants to cut down on the hours that she works at her practice. But I think that she's still going to be just as busy because she's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. She's got a whole bunch of other business ventures, appearances, promotions. She's got a whole lot of stuff going on. So she's cutting back on her office hours and says that she's going to have more time for Curtis. But like, what about the other stuff that you got going on? The books, the appearances, all that other stuff that you have going on, the skincare product. So I was a little bit confused about that. Anila, if I see Anila closing that damn container at the breakfast table one more time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Anila is at her husband's office getting Botox, and she tells her husband that she's over her mother. She wants her mother gone. The husband says, "You know what? I told you this was a bad idea. I told you this was not gonna work out." So they talk about bringing Miss Gomez back. I'm like, how long has it been since Miss Gomez left? So they're willing to give Miss Gomez the sun, the moon, and the stars to come back and take care of their children and clean their house. And I'm just like, why don't you just get another nanny? Why does Miss Gomez? I thought Miss Gomez had her own life to live, had her own thing going on in Texas. Um, if she was just gonna turn around and come right back, I don't understand that at all. I don't get it. She just left. What is going to convince her? I mean, y'all are going to have to pay her some really good money to convince her to come back. But the way Miss Gomez left, it was if she was done with it. She wanted to go back home to be around her family, and that nothing could bring her back. So we'll see how that works out. But really, I don't understand why they just can't get another nanny. Anila got robbed. Okay, her house got broken into, a whole bunch of stuff got stolen. This is what I'm talking about. This is another theme that runs across the franchises because a couple of years ago, Kyle got robbed. Marlo Hampton on the real, okay, Kyle from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. A couple of years ago, her house got broken into. All of her bags were stolen. Marlo Hampton from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she talked about in the reunion how there was an attempted break-in at her house, but she scared them away. Candy, some strange person was approaching her property, had gotten through the gated community, the gates of the community, got practically to the gates of her house, and some strange person who was there for some strange reason. Dorit had her house broken into, a whole bunch of stuff stolen. Like, what is going on? I thought these women lived in gated, exclusive, wealthy communities. Not just gated, but like, with the security guard at the kiosk or whatever you want to call it, who checks people's IDs. Like, what is happening here? So the funny thing about this though is that these women, some of them are speculating that either, like Quad was talking to Dr. Heavenly. Quad indicated or alluded or alleged that possibly Toya was behind Anila's break-in because it happened so close after that confrontation at the housewarming party. Eugene speculates that Anila kind of brought this on herself because of the lies that she's spreading about Toya. I'm just like shocked. I mean, people really believe that this was either a setup or an inside job or someone within the group instigated it. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I cannot wait to see more of that and what else they have to say about that. But yeah, Dr. Heavenly, to me, I watch her YouTube channel. I think she's hilarious. I like her. But Dr. Heavenly, if you're so secure in your own marriage and in your man, don't talk about other people's marriages. And then her excuse that, well, they put it out there. They put it out there. Yeah, but you talk about it so much to the point it's like you're obsessed with these people's marriages. And you wouldn't even have time to even think about them if you and Dr. Damon are really that good. If y'all's marriage is really that wonderful and y'all having so much fun with one another, you wouldn't even have time. You wouldn't even give a damn about other people's marriages and what they're doing. You wouldn't even care because it's out there, but they don't talk about each other. Like Simone doesn't talk about Contessa. Quad doesn't talk about Toya. It's not like they have this platform. It's like, you know what? I'm going to talk about, my fellow castmates for an hour and a half and talk about their marriage, talk about their husbands and call their husbands out. Like, Dr. Howard, you're the only one that does that. And yes, they put it out there, but I would think that you'd be too busy with your practice, with your businesses, with your kids, and with your husband to be worried about other people's marriages. That's all I'm saying. That's my review of Married to Medicine. I really do appreciate you joining me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.